Hey everyone! You know, Kidder Music Service is one of the greatest assets to our school district. From providing day-to-day materials like reeds and valve oil to purchasing pieces of sound and instrumental equipment, there isn't anything they can't do. Kidder Music Service helps our students sound the best they can each and every day, and we are proud to call them a Music in the Making sponsor. If you are looking for similar materials for your school, don't hesitate to call and ask for assistance and mention us, Music in the Making, today. Their number is 309-692-4040, or visit kiddermusic.com, that's Kidder music.com today for all your music classroom needs. And now, on to the podcast. Welcome to Music in the Making.
That's illegal.
I want to be with you everywhere. A Halloween party. Oh, that's fun. Let's talk about work.
That's not what I said. Well, and I like Stanridge, so it's like I kind of.
Well, you guys are friends?
Yeah,
You guys
I talked
are
to
friends?
him. Yeah, we talked
to him last week.
a whole 5 minutes at Midwest last year. We are 3 high school and junior high music teachers from West Central Illinois.
And someone had to go to the bathroom during intermission and missed it. And that someone is me.
Yeah! Each week we will talk about our experiences in the classroom, community, and personal lives too. Please welcome your hosts, Lisa Hallen.
We say move all this stuff down there, and then it gets moved, and then I'm like, oh my gosh, why have we moved that from there to there to there? Stop recording.
Art Martinez, happy Friday if it's not a Friday, or Saturday or Sunday, or if you're Lisa, it's a week later. And Kevin Ferry.
I don't know what you're talking about.
During class. That's fair.
That's crazy. Okay, I think I got something to work, so apologies, it took forever, but just whatever. So we'll just go with this. So welcome everyone to another episode of Music in the Making. We have a little bit of a different viewing version of our podcast because we have a guest with us and a longtime friend from WIU. Shout out, go Next, all that good
Shout
stuff. We have Tim. Oh gosh, I always say your last name wrong. How you say it?
It's Chernobrov.
Chernobrov. So,
Yes.
but wait, what was it? What was your maiden name before that?
Oh, it was a very fun one. Maybe I shouldn't say it online.
I was because like Lisa asked me, and I'm like, I honestly can't remember, but I just know that it was.
I never went. So as a teacher in career, I only went by my middle name, which was Tim Ryan. So
Ryan,
I'd rather be the
yes.
teacher with 2 first names than my
Yes.
last name. If I spell it, would be Horr.
Oh, that's right. That's right. Yes.
Okay.
That's
That
right.
was a tough last name to live with.
Yeah.
So I have this
Yeah, that's right. Oh my
unique
gosh.
Russian name.
Yes.
So,
right. Well,
I'd
because I
rather
think
do
I
that.
remember Ryan all the time. I'm like, I don't think that was his last name though. It was anyway. So.
Yeah.
Absolutely. But no, okay. Well, welcome, Tim. We're so happy to have you. I'm so glad we ran into each other at IMEX. I'm like, Tim, like, we got to get you on for sure. Especially after our conversation with the steel band stuff. So, but we'll get to that in a minute. So, why don't you introduce yourself? Tell us a little bit about your musical journey and whatnot. Just about anything. I know we kind of started talking a little bit, but I was having issues with the recording. So, the floor is yours. So, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Sure. So I graduated Western in 2013.
Shout out.
I started teaching in 2014. So this is my 11th year of teaching, sixth year in Midlothian. And before that, I taught for 1 year abroad in the Marshall Islands. So I taught on a military base on Kwajalein, Marshall Islands. It was the Reagan missile testing site. So I did that for a year. And then before that, to get up into the suburbs, I taught for Band for Today. So I did that for 2 years. I was a traveling teacher. And then my first 2 years was actually down in Central Illinois, where I taught K-12 music in Meridosha, Illinois. So I did that for 2 years. So I had to be like the jack of all trades for the first 2 years of teaching. So I learned a lot. So now I'm a junior high band director in Midlothian. Been here for 6 years. We have 2 directors. When I first started, I was an assistant band director. I was the first time the position was created, and I was just beginning band. That was 2019. So when COVID hit, we both, me and my coworker, who was also a Western grad, Stavros Makropoulos, we both kind of had a unique situation where that year there wasn't any band, so we both were like teaching general music until the very end of the year where we were able to do it again.
Oh no.
So I took over, and so we also started the jazz band the year after COVID. So we have a second band director. So I do 5th grade band, and then the junior high, 7th and 8th. And my coworker does jazz band and our 6th grade, like our intermediate concert band. And then this year I just started doing steel band. So what's very unique about our district is that we don't have one true middle school. We have 2 K-8 buildings and then 1 K-5. And then we also have a pre-K building. So it's kind of similar to other districts where like we feed into a very large high school. So a lot of our kids will, and when they get to 8th grade, they will feed into like separate high schools, just kind of where they're located. So our main feeder is Bremen, but about 15% of our kids go to Shepherd High School. So that's kind of how it's unique. So because we are 3 separate buildings, to get everybody together, we have 2 morning rehearsals for concert band and band, our 6th and 7th and 8th grade. So we kind of divide and conquer, my coworker. And then we have jazz band once in the morning. And then beginning band is after school once a week as a full band. And then steel band is also once a week after school. So the rest of the day, like the actual main part of the day, is all sectionals. So we have all sectionals throughout the day. So I go to certain schools on certain days and teach the graders, and then the 7th and 8th graders I have on very specific days as well. So we try to not be in the same building. So like we each have a band room at the schools. And then for me, I actually have to travel to 3 schools. My coworker only has to travel to 2 because with 5th grade, we have Colmar, Central Park, and Springfield is our K-5 building. So very unique kind of layout, but we divide and conquer and make it work.
Yeah. Wow, that's fascinating. I was going to say, I remember when a student taught, beginning band was between like 3 buildings, like just the 5th graders. So like, and it was like in parts of the different towns. So like, it would be we just kept going. And this is like in Palos. Like, it's not even like a rural area. It's like a suburb basically, but all 3 feed into one middle school, and then that middle school goes into like 2 or 3 high schools, which is kind of weird how that works. But yeah. I mean, the band program was huge though, so you have like 20 kids per, like, but it's every other day is a different building, so that's pretty crazy. So God bless you for keeping it all together, because I'd probably forget.
Yeah, it's just like Monday, Thursday, I'm Colmar. Tuesday, Friday, Central Park. Wednesday, I'm at Springfield. So wow. I've kind of got it. I actually like the variety.
Sure.
Each day. With our beginners, they get 2 contact times, like the full band and then their sectional. Our 6th, 7th, and 8th graders, they get 3 because they have 2 in the morning and 1 during the school week. And then if they're in jazz band, they actually get a sectional for that and get a before school band. So they could have that up to like 5 times. So, I mean, wow. if they were in school full, 5 days a week. The challenges for us, if we were to move it during the school day, is that we would have to divide into like specifically to school. Bands would be a little bit harder because they would have a class period as their sectional. We could still have the busing, but I know that would be expensive for the district, just to justify that if they're already meeting so many times during the day already. So that's how we work, kind of as a district-wide band program. And I know it helps our numbers too by doing that.
So when you meet after school, it's the combination of all the schools?
Yes. So we have a bus that picks up the schools, and they come to one of our schools where we have the largest band room.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Wow, that's fascinating. That's definitely unique.
That has to be difficult, because both of us teach in 2 different buildings, and I don't know about him, but I feel like I struggle knowing what's going on in the building I'm not in as much. So like that has to be difficult with testing and everything, keeping the schedule straight. Like when you're only in that building one day a week or something, but you have to know if your kids are going to be there if they're on a field trip that day.
Mm-hmm.
Do you ever like get there and find that, oh, they're not here today?
I mean, there has been challenges of that. So what I've like learned in the past is like very specific times during the day, like testing, like state testing was like always 9 to 11 and
That's
kind of
nice.
district wide. So
Yeah.
like I sometimes would do like a full band that day instead of like I'd have them all, and it would help the teacher too, because the
Yeah.
teachers know about the pull out kind of schedule, and they've gotten used, the 30-minute. For some of my schools, I'm able to do 40 minutes or 35. It just depends on how I can fit it in before lunch. I just got to be careful of that. But that's just kind of, they've gotten used to it. And to be nice to the teachers, maybe that day, maybe they come full band that day, okay? And by the time the beginners have gotten into the spring semester, I can start, like, they can have a full sectional.
Wow.
So, like,
Yeah.
That's very cool. Well, I would say so. Well, I guess I want to go back briefly before I hit the steel band stuff. Like, I guess what was your experience like with that school, that military base? I guess what was music education like
Okay.
for them?
So it was really, really awesome. And if COVID, like I have some, if I would have stayed and COVID was, it would have happened, I think it would have been easier because they were so isolated. They weren't affected by COVID for a really long time.
Wow.
Now they had some strict quarantine, like they wouldn't allow people to come on island. So if you left island, that was an issue. So you pretty much were stuck there.
Hmm.
But so it was, I taught 5th through 12th grade band, and then I did high school choir. I decided to kind of just promote myself. I would do and start a choir there. So I had the 5th grade band, so like a 6th grade band, a combined junior high, and then a high school band. Now, what was really cool, band was very popular there because with sports, they could only play themselves. So, but swimming was super, super like popular there, and actually a lot of them would go on to compete in the Olympics
Oh,
because
wow.
some of them had dual citizenship. So like they would compete for the Marshall Islands, and so every kindergarten class, they would start 5 locals. Like we have a base on that whole island, Kwajalein, where the base is, but there was a local island of Ebi where they would let locals, so kind of like to keep relations with the Marshallese people. So they would get to come and be on the American school base. So it is one of the very few, it's a very small school, very few schools that is, they do get, I believe, DODEA funding, but it's contracted out to be a private school. So because it's such a small school, there's it's mostly very scientific types of jobs. It is a missile base. So I had some very smart kids, very smart parents. Some of their jobs, I didn't even know what they did because the kids didn't tell me what they were doing. Like some people have said they used to be an electrician, but not anymore. Didn't tell me what the job is. So it was a very unique experience. Everything was on bike. I did get a driver's license out there just to move equipment. So like if we had to perform outside, I got like a Marshallese driver's license to very specifically move certain things on island, but most of the things, everything was on bicycle.
Wow.
I had a rain suit. Part of the year was like the rainy season. So if in hindsight, at the time, my husband had a health scare. They had a hospital on island, but he was so worried about, it ended up just being a lipoma, but we were worried about the, just the health scare of like being on such an isolated area. So we went to Guam, got a second opinion, but still like having health anxiety on a small 4-mile long island was, an issue. And like, we decided, you had to be in very specific spots for like cell phone service. At school I did, and then in my we lived in the bachelor's quarters, and if we lived in the bachelor's quarters, you got free food and free housing. So we weren't married at the time, but to get married, we could get a house. But we couldn't get married in the Marshall Islands because it wasn't allowed there at the time. So we got married over in Guam.
Wow.
So I saw your hand raised.
What is bachelor's quarters like the military? I don't know what that means. What does that mean?
So like dorms, think dorms. It's
Okay.
like our rooms are actually right next to each other. So we got like, it's just living like in college life.
Yeah.
That's what it basically.
You're like, I just left this.
Community bathroom or private bathroom?
Everyone had a private bathroom,
Okay.
but like laundry
That's
was like,
doable then.
so you remember Grody Hall?
Oh,
I don't
yeah.
know if it's still there.
Yeah, it's still.
It's kind of like that.
I don't think I've ever in there.
Yeah, I knew people who lived there.
Well, actually, no. Well, because the 2 rooms shared a bathroom there, I guess. But no, we all each had a private bathroom. So, but no, the kids were great. I got to experience, little junior high and high school. And at that time, I kind of figured out that my passion was more middle school. And I did K-12 before, and I liked certain aspects of high school. I just liked starting kids from the get-go and kind of working from there.
Because it's a military base, did you find it difficult to, did you find there was a lot of, coming and going with the students, or were you there long enough that there was,
Yes.
some consistency?
It depended on the job. Like some people, it's called PCSing, a permanent change of station. I think that's what it stands for. So there were certain jobs that maybe people were out there contracted only for 2 years. So there's a lot of military contractors out there. So very specific targeted jobs that might be, it could be just someone there for construction. It could be they were only there for a certain period of time to build something on island. But so the kids, they lived in houses. So their jobs were accompanied, their parents' jobs were accompanied positions. So they could bring their kids or, husband, wife, out there. So they had these very, all the houses look very the same.
Yeah, sure. Interesting. So, but for your classroom, did you see a lot of coming and going also, or was it, or most of for you, it was a lot more consistent?
I noticed it at the semester. A lot of the parents tried to keep, and they worked to try to, finagle their schedule to where they would leave at the semester. But other than that, I might have lost a couple, but then I would gain some too.
Sure.
And I remember in the spring, but it wasn't a huge drastic amount. A lot of the kids were out there, especially in band, were out there for a really long time. Their parents were. I will say I took some repair courses just to be out there because there used to be they would contract, the previous director would contract through someone in California. So if an instrument just wasn't working anymore, they would have to ship it out and it would take a month to get back.
Can you imagine?
So a lot of the things I was lucky enough to, I can't even remember what it was with the baritone saxophone, but I was able to fix it enough to get it, where I didn't have to send it back in. So, I mean, I had, and for high school band, I had 45.
Wow.
Junior high, I would say was maybe in the 30s. It's been a while, to be honest, but I'm glad you're asking me about this because it was a very fun experience.
Yeah.
And like I said, I have back and forth, was it the right time to leave kind of thing. But I do love where I'm at now. I've been here for 6 years.
Good.
I do comparatively from Central Illinois, I feel very spoiled up here. Just playing opportunities.
Sure.
That's a big thing that has really been an eye opener for me. It's really hard to get gigs, downstate and keep playing, and I just love playing. So
yeah,
especially because I play contrabass clarinet.
Right.
If you're wondering what.
Oh, yeah.
So
it's pretty
Yeah,
fun.
so-
And are you going with them to Carnegie or no?
yes,
Oh, you are?
I'm going. Yeah, so we're going in June. I think our performance is June
first
16th.
week. Yeah, it's isn't Dave Gravelick going with you?
Not that I'm aware.
Oh, is he not?
He hasn't been in. He's not in Naperville Winds, but he does Wheaton Municipal
Oh,
Band.
okay. I know he
Very
plays.
good
Well,
to get into.
he was at the Ginsburg thing though, right?
Yes.
Okay, I was just saying, I
Yes.
think that's where I saw him last. So, but I know he's still playing. But I wasn't sure if he was going to Carnegie or not.
Yeah, so a lot of the Naperville Winds, like that's what they'll play with the Naperville Winds through like the school year,
Mm-hmm.
and then they play with Wheaton
During the summer.
to get in.
Cool. That's
Yeah.
fun. So, well, that's really interesting. I would say, like, I feel like when you're searching for a job, it doesn't even, and depending on your situation, like, you might be like, I'm going to go overseas and I'm going to go teach. I mean, there was a brief moment I was looking into it just because it's like, you never know. And I feel like it would be like a little bit of a culture shock because I'm sure, like, they have a little bit different philosophy than we do for teaching. But I think either way, like, military base, no military base, like, these kids need music in their lives, and it teaches them a lot of skills, of teamwork and, like, preparation of your own part and, like, working as a team and whatnot. So it's pretty fascinating. But
what were your performances like? Like, was it mostly just their parents? Was there a lot of community or military? Like, what does
Sure.
that look like?
So everything what you just said. So we had 4 concerts a year. We did like a fall concert, a winter concert, like a March concert, and then end of year. And then any like Veterans Day, they always had us play. We had played Memorial Day. I learned that I was supposed to play for the 9/11, like just memory, but I had just started and no one had told me that I was supposed to do it. So we weren't able, I didn't have the band ready enough, but I, learned that this is the things that we needed to do. And then let's see here. We had one parade on island, and then we also did like they had like a Christmas tree lighting ceremony. So we all, like, this is where I needed the vehicle, so I would drive down to the middle of kind of like where like the businesses were not businesses, like we had a food court, like there was a bunch of like little shops there, I guess you could say, and then we would just play there for the whole community kind of thing. But yeah, it was there was a lot of people that would come to the concerts that just for something to do, because like there was only 1,500 people on island usually at the time. I think now the population has gone up. I believe it's the closest military base to North Korea. Missile base. So, but yeah, we actually got to see a test missile shot from California, and we got to see them. It's like it's just a test missile, so there's like nothing like, so they practice shooting it down, and vice versa. So like Kwajalein would shoot one over that way. So
I'm gonna let our admin know, like, hey, we need to see some missiles shot down. They get to do it. Why can't we? That's really, really cool. Well, now I think let's just get to the main event. So steel band. So I guess, were you in the steel band at Western?
I was not. So a little bit of my background, I love kind of just unique ensembles. I'm an ocarina virtual ensemble of 8 different size ocarinas.
They're cool.
I love hand chimes. I love like kind of unique ensembles. So I wanted to kind of just dive in and learn about steel pan, and learning about it through like NIU and being close. I live in North Aurora, so I'm about a half hour from DeKalb. So one of the things was like, how can we incorporate other types of music for the kids in our school district, and with the budget that we had. So looking in, I saw that they're using general music a lot. They're called Jumbie Jam pans. They're like 8, they start in G, and they have only 8 notes, but it's the diatonic scale. And there was a lot of material out for these Jumbie Jams, where there was a melody part, a harmony part, chord backup. So what I decided to do, I was looking and just researching to see it, and they had educator packs of like 4 of the Jumbie Jams for $874 for 4. So I was like, okay, we have a $5,000 budget each year for instruments. So I was looking at, okay, if I got 12 of them, which was like $2,600 roughly, I'm estimating right now, but for the $874 price. And then, so I had the 12 pans, and I wanted to make an engine room. So like kind of think like the rhythm section of a jazz band. So I could have had done drum set, but to allow more kids to be a part of that engine room, I use cajon. And then I also use, like, I'll just use other auxiliary percussion. So I have 16 members in my steel band. So I have 12 pans. And then to get lower sounds, they're called Joya tubes. They're kind of like, if you've ever seen the Blue Man Group, they're like slapophone, where they have almost like, they look like ping pong mallets, or like just like, not mallets, whatever, ping pong racket.
Paddles,
kind of thing.
yeah.
So those are used for kind of like my bass tones, because I knew what my idea was: buy these pans now and slowly build year after year, buying a new steel pan that has the full range, so I could get the kids going. The district would see how wonderful this is to allow kids to learn music in a different way, kind of connecting what they learned in their band class. And a lot of my kids are not percussionists, so I have the 12 pans, 2 Joya tubes that are also pitched in G, that go down to the first line G of the bass clef. So I just kind of do like the chord changes. I keep it really simple, with all quarter notes with them. And then my 12 kids, I will divide up. Everyone learns the melody part first, and then when I find that the kids have got that down, I start teaching the harmony part, and then go from there. So I also use vibraphone to fill out the middle like chords. So the kids are all kind of switching around, learning different instruments. What I found out first was the biggest thing was keeping everybody in time. So the biggest issue at first was everyone was trying to rush. So we had to really lock in on tempo to get it, to solidify. And we've gotten so much better since we've started. And these kids, they don't necessarily get to take these instruments home. So that once a week is really important, and the kids just love it. And we're looking at ways. So like I said, I have 16 kids in it right now, but we could look into ways to maybe having a second group just using the same instruments at a different time. So more kids could be involved. So we could have like a group A, group B kind of thing, and just name them things. But it's a really cool experience. Like I said, like we're using music by just the Jumbie Jam series. I believe it's Panyard, or that the Jumbie Jams are created by. And I'm kind of looking at like the different sizes of the different ranges of the steel pans. So that's kind of, and I approach it just like teaching like maybe a percussion ensemble, and the kids are reading and we're teaching the rhythms all together. That's what's really nice, is like if a kid is missing, maybe in the engine room, that's a little bit more difficult. But if a kid is just missing from one of the pan parts, they're covered multiple times, over. But like you say, if you're doing like hand chimes, if someone's you've been playing the note G is missing, that's a problem. So like, so it's a little bit easier to teach as a full group, and just kind of writing my own like engine room parts. I've made kind of my own ensemble. We took them to solo and ensemble contests. We actually took them to a judged contest that is not like through the state run, but Justin Antos at Eisenhower High School put together a middle school just conference for like, and they had judges, they had division ratings, they got to work with an instructor just on like their particular instrument. So they had the percussion instructor work with the group, and then they had the judges come down and work specifically with the groups too. Like one of the judges of the 3 would come down. So it was really great. I was so thankful for all the parents that were helping out, getting the steel pans over on a bus. We made it work. Teamwork is dream work.
Awesome.
So, but yeah.
So I guess one question I had is like, how did you introduce this instrument or like this group to your kids? Because I mean, it's not a traditional American instrument, obviously, and granted a lot of American instruments aren't. But I guess like, what is it? Just something that because you were interested in the instrument and you felt the kids. I guess like, what was their first interaction with the instrument?
So first of all, I will say the idea came to mind for me first. And then I tried to gauge interest. So I had like an interest sheet. So we would watch a lot of just videos like, in the mornings when I was waiting, some of the kids were coming in, I put on it like a video. I open the doors at 6:50 in the morning and we start about 7:05. So like sometimes the kids get there right at 6:50. Some are coming in, you know how kids are in the morning. They'll be like, you're like, it's 7:05. So I would put on videos and gauge interest so I could provide that information to admin to purchase the drums. And then once they came in, it was like, oh my gosh, this is so cool. Like I had teachers wanting to come up and play them, you know.
Cool.
It's like, it's just a cool sounding instrument, and like it's therapeutic, I think, just to hear the instrument. And the kids just loved it. And like I had 48 kids audition, and I at the time only took 15, but I was like, you know what, I could use vibraphone. So I ended up adding that too. So now we have 16 kids, and a lot of those kids are involved in multiple things. Like we've got kids that are in 3 ensembles. They're in like junior high band, they're in jazz band, and they're in steel band.
Wow.
So like, you know, it's just another outlet for them. And you know how kids just want to go up and play any percussion instrument in the back of your room sometimes.
Don't you know it?
So it's like, it's an outlet for them to do that. I gotta be careful because now they're like, they get to be a percussionist that you know they're not allowed to go back and just
right,
work on the
exactly.
drum set. So, but yeah, it's a really cool experience. And like I said, I learned that, you know, the rushing thing was a big thing that we worked on. And so like I always had the cajon player. We kept working on that steady beat, and then the other, like I would use tambourine a lot. Just to kind of keep, and, you know, you can use like just your instruments that you have in your band room kind of just to make, you know, your engine room of like sound too. And I like that too, instead of like some of the Jumpy Jam stuff comes with like, recordings, like they'll have of the song and they'll have like a backtrack you can play along with too. So like I said, there's like this general music aspect. They have books that are a little bit easier, like it could be just by note name, or it's actually written out music, like I said, like the melody, the harmony, the chord parts, and they have a bass part too. I ended up writing my own like bass lines to kind of keep it with like just keeping it simple. That's what with rushing, I was trying to keep it very simple in the background at first. You got to lock in with them. They're really important. And I actually stage them. So I have 12 pans. I do 4 of the pans in the front row. And those are usually my harmony parts. And then right in the center, right in front of me, I keep the cajon player. And then like the rhythm section. And then I have the bass tubes in the front row so they can be heard a little bit better. And the vibraphone. And then my second row is the 8 other pans. So they'll be like melody. Or sometimes there'll be some harmony parts back there too. It's just what I find is a good balance of everything. So it's been a hit. I really like it.
That's
so
awesome. Sorry if I missed it, but was this the first year you did it at Solo Ensemble?
Yes.
Okay. So I guess I'm curious what the judges' reaction were. Like that you show up with the instruments, you walk into the room, or were they already in the room, and then like you guys walk in, and I'd be curious how that.
I think it's just like any percussionist just gets super excited about seeing them.
Yeah.
So just for Solo Ensemble, the director, or not the director, the judge said that it made me feel good. It was like our kids were some of the most prepared in the percussion room. So that was like,
Good
okay, yes.
Good to see you. Yeah.
Yeah, and so I know you guys focus a lot on Solo Ensemble at your school. I saw your for IOMEA, you guys presented for that. And so a lot of big things that I like to do is to get kids just to do Solo Ensemble contest is I do instrument choirs. I do clarinet choir, saxophone choir, brass ensemble, percussion ensemble. We did the steel band. We did a flute choir. And I'm very fortunate and very willing to have like some of the auxiliary instruments that I trust some of my kids on, that I know that they're going to take care of the instrument. And they're in my sight, like I've been playing. So, I mean, we use the full like E flat, B flat, alto, bass, contralto, contrabass, clarinet at junior high.
Wow.
Take it to contest.
That's awesome.
That's awesome.
So yeah, we have it's almost like a saxophone quartet, but we double the parts. For flute, I have an alto flute, so I let one of my kids play alto. We have a piccolo, we let them play piccolo.
Wow.
For brass ensemble, being a woodwind person, both me and my coworker woodwind people, we love to just keep recruiting our brass instruments. So our numbers in brass have been low, especially after COVID. So we combine all their brass to do it that way, to kind of give them more confidence too, and do flex music that way. So
does everyone want to play saxophone up there too?
Not necessarily. You know what's ended up happening?
They want to play
and my problem is probably okay. Both me and my coworker are clarinet players.
Okay, yep.
And I feel like when we show the instruments, I have to be like careful, like not to show
off too much.
That or like just show like
yeah.
Your kids kind of know what like your favorite instrument is. It's just
Yeah.
like they sometimes will know, and they know I'm like I have all these low clarinets and I'm passionate about it. So I feel like, okay, I will say it's very interesting, like in our conference, our sports conference, which also like how we do like where we go to get judged for like division ratings. It's still in the south suburbs, it's still rare to see French horns, and it's rare to see the double reeds. There's very few schools. I wish I tried to start a French horn player last year, and I wish they would have stayed because they were decent enough. It's just they decided not to do it. It's hard being one French horn player. You want them to have a buddy. So that's a tricky part in our scenario, up in the burbs, up here in the south burbs, and then one of my students just walked in. They're in aftercare. So so we've had issues with double reeds and French horn. Actually, we're the only school in our conference that has bassoons. So
very good,
I'm proud of that.
I approve. So that's awesome. Well, very, very cool. So, well, I mean, it sounds like we got a lot of things going on up there for you guys, and that's really, really happy to hear. And I mean, and part of the reason we started this platform was just so that, we can share what we have, but also give you guys who are doing these things a chance to say like all the cool things that you guys are doing. And I mean, I don't know anybody else who has a steel band in their junior high, so that's really, really cool thing. So hopefully, yeah, seriously. As soon as you told me about it and you sent me the video, which are you cool if I posted that on our Facebook page and just be like,
oh sure, like
okay.
Yeah,
whichever one you sent me, it was one that were at contest,
okay.
I think. If that's okay.
Yeah,
I'd say just to kind of show off a little bit and just also like say, hey, like look who's on the podcast, talk about this, and it might pique some interest. So
I think the biggest struggle with steel band is the initial cost. Getting the instruments, especially if you're going the grant route, is a lot of what a lot of schools do. But the cost of upkeeping tuning is another thing to think about, and having someone in your area willing to do it. There is a few people up here that know how to tune them. There's actually in Woodstock, Illinois, I believe he might contract through some people down in Trinidad to get the instruments up here, and he sells them up in Woodstock. And then Bolingbrook High School has a steel band program. There isn't too many, and I think it's a growing thing for it. And it's a very like how should I put this, like an instrument that anybody can come up and learn. And so I approached it as, let's start off like with our instruments that we have and then start building them over time. Like the next thing is to get like just our leads, so we'll have them so we can do more of just melody, and then I'll start adding the Joya tubes have really added a lot just for our bass line. So the only thing is they can't sustain. So like they just, I have them constantly like playing quarter note lines and then do the chord changes basically. And the vibraphone kind of gives the I have them play on the lower part of our vibraphone to kind of fill in some chords kind of in the below the steel pans, which start at like the second line G of the treble clef.
Mm-hmm. So. Very cool.
So I know.
Did you play?
Oh, go ahead.
Oh, did you play in the steel band?
I did not. I never got to. I was in singers.
I would love to have done it.
Yeah.
Lisa got to though.
I did, yes. So my high school band director was in NIU steel band when he was getting his master's. So he would bring NIU to our high school for a concert every year. So I got super into it from that in high school because NIU is just phenomenal. It's just the most fun concert you can ever go to. Then I went to Western. I was like, I want to do steel band. But it was always at the same time as education classes. Like, I could not do it until like spring semester of my senior year. But I was like, I'm doing this.
Yeah.
So I only got one official year and then a couple summers helping at SMI. But
I think if there was any concert I went to every semester, it was the steel
Yes.
band one. Because like all my percussion friends were in it.
oh
It was
yeah,
awesome seeing Karaz like play
Oh.
with them. Like that's like one of the few ensembles that your director's actually playing with you. Like that's
True.
and I feel like in high school it's always important to see something like that. And in college it's like a whole nother level, you know, because like
Yeah.
you're kind of one of the pros on the stage. So if I can go back, maybe I'd do it. But singers was also pretty fun. So I
yeah,
won't lie.
that's hard. Need a time turner.
Yeah, a little bit. So
No, I just think the way that I approached it was more economical to get them started. You know, even if you have a smaller group, I thought 15 was a good number, and I have, you know, to have that many pans and then have a little, you know, entry room and kind of go from there and allow kids to play different things too. Like kids just like learning another instrument. So
mhm. Yeah, especially at this age too. It's important to keep fostering that, and then you're like, hey, you like steel band? You should go to Western.
Yeah. Let's go next.
We get them early. So that purple and gold. So, well, Tim, thank you so much for being on today, and you of course are welcome. Any topic that you want to talk about, and honestly, if your coworker wants to come on, we can have them on, both of you on. Any Western people for sure, if they want to come on, we try to be as open as possible. When it comes to just like we have our own content that we talk about each week, and a lot of it's just catching up with each other because, you know, we said it on the podcast before, like we start our day in the same building, and then after that first period we're all in separate parts of the day, so and then we end up in different buildings and it's kind of crazy. So this podcast has been therapeutic, as Kevin put it, to kind of talk about our own kids and things that are going on, and also like, you know, you're not alone when it comes to some things. But please feel free to reach out anytime if you ever want to continue to talk steel band or talk about any other topics that you want us on your opinions about too. We can always provide some information like that. Before we go though, we gotta always thank our sponsor, Kidder Music.
Shout out.
Okay, spring is in the air, meaning recruiting your future beginners is at hand. Let Kidder Music help you organize what your students will need, like an instrumental rental, music books, and music stand. Their expertise will ensure your beginners' first notes are a success. And honestly, I can't believe it's like end of the school year. We already have to talk about the beginners and get instruments out and whatnot, and it's just crazy time. So Tim, thanks again. We'll hopefully be in touch, and anytime you want to be on, you reach out to us, okay?
perfect.
Awesome.
All right.
Yep, spread the
Thank
word
you.
about us. We'll see you next time.
All right. Bye.
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 Here we go.